Bear with me, y'all. I'm trying to get Coach Kim on here now so we can go ahead and get started. Good morning, Coach. I got you here. Now I sent you the invite. You should have an invite from me.
Good morning.
Coach, how you doing?
Hi.
Okay. Yeah,
Good
I'm
morning,
sorry for
Kimberly.
the. You can tell I'm not a perfectionist. You can.
And that's all good.
You can tell. I ain't got nothing. Ain't nothing about perfectionist.
Hey, we working
Won't
it
be
out as
doing
we
it
go.
all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Give
love
me
it.
1 second, Coach. Let me get this thing adjusted real nice. Give me 1 second. It's good to have
Perfect.
you on here this morning. I
Thank you for
definitely
having
appreciate
me.
you. Yeah, I definitely appreciate you. Give me 1 second. Let me get I got these headphones in, but it's not even on. Hold on. All right, Coach, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, yes, ma'am. Okay,
Okay.
I'm just going to turn these things off because they're not even working. So, all right, how's your morning?
Morning is going good. Got a good night's sleep. Um, Going great. Just blessing God this morning. Thanking God for being up, being
Yeah, yeah,
alive,
yeah,
being
yeah.
here with you.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
about
that's it.
you?
That's it. Yeah, I'm marvelous. I'm good.
Wonderful.
Um, yeah, I'm just blessed to be alive, blessed to be, one of the ones that God chose to wake up this morning. So definitely grateful for life and for real. Other than
Yeah,
that, this is our first encounter. Like I know you know my mom, you
it
know a lot of other
is.
people I know, and we've been Facebook friends for I don't know how long, and it's
Right.
like our real first encounter, and I'm mad that it got to be like virtually, but
I know.
it is what it is.
It's all good.
I'm just glad that we at this point now to where, and this is where I want to get to.
Hmm.
Because I don't believe we from a of course you're older than me, but we're from an era and a generation where we used to engagement. You know what I mean? This is a little different right here.
Yes.
So but
Yes.
I'm still like, even when I was out in the streets and when I was growing up, it was more outside things to do, and it was more about the connection with
Hmm.
people physically versus the
Hmm.
because we didn't have
Absolutely.
technology like that. But I think it's wonderful, but at the same time,
Absolutely.
it's still a little difficult for me. Like it really is.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a millennial or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's still difficult for me because it wasn't technology wasn't like it was.
Right.
Back then, you know what I'm saying? Like we didn't have all this extra stuff.
Right.
So yeah, for real.
No, totally understand. Thank you for having me today. Thank you. I'm really grateful for the connection because I know that I too am used to connecting with people, even as an introvert. I'm used to connecting people for, small shots of time. And,
Right,
we can
right,
connect that way. And whether it's
right,
work or church or home or just, kicking it with friends or whatever,
right.
that connection is missing right now. And so,
Yeah,
but I am glad for social media. We couldn't
yeah,
be without, anything. So I'm glad for
that's
social
true.
media and ways to connect. And I'm really glad that we are vibing in a way on social media where things like behavior traits like perfectionism is coming
Yeah,
up, and we can talk about that,
talk about it.
and
Yeah,
share from our experiences and share with other people,
right.
and hopefully something, that we say through our connection is a blessing to the audience this morning.
Yeah. That's no, you're 100% true on what you just said. And real quick, since before we get started, you are an introvert. So would you say introverts are automatically perfectionists? Would you say that?
I would
No?
not say that.
Okay.
No. Introverts, or I would say, excuse me, perfectionism comes from a place where you're not fully clear on your image, right? You're not fully clear on your likeness. So you can have the behavior trait of an extrovert or an introvert.
Right.
It's about the seeds that have been planted in your heart, in your personality. And that's how you're going to show up, regardless of introvert, extrovert, as it
Okay.
relates to perfectionism.
Oh, okay. Thank you for breaking that down for me, because I'm surely trying. I'm here. I'm going to learn. I'm here as a student, Coach. You know, because I want to dig in. You know what I mean? I
Let's
want
do
to get as
it.
much information. From the people that's full of wisdom around. Everybody always try to outsource and go find somebody that they think is
Yes.
so good and great.
Yes.
I'm like, y'all crazy. You missing all the dope people right around you. Like
Yes.
I just, I just scroll through I'm like, man, she's dope. I've been watching her for years, and this is that time. I've been wanting to do this forever, like
Wow.
forever. But God said it wasn't the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now it's like he's created the time for me. Like this is it now. Here you go. Because he knows it's my desire. I love. I'm an extrovert.
Yeah.
And I'm an interactive person. That's
Yeah.
my trait. You know what I mean? Like I gotta connect. It's all about the experience for me.
Yeah.
It's all about the connection for me. Like
Yeah.
everything else don't even. But
Yeah.
that connection is what drives me. Knowing that getting to meet different phenomenal human beings. You know what I'm saying? Like people, especially coming from my background, and I was only subject to one type of lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Only seeing a one type of lifestyle, and then you just get into this new world, and it's so just wonderful to see people that's full of wisdom and that's been through different trials and tribulations in life.
Right.
I love hearing the perspective from those people. And again, that's one of the reasons why I brought you on here. Like I want to hear. I know that I watch your posts. You know what I mean? And I specifically said perfectionism because I see you post a lot about perfectionism. I see you, and I'm like, okay, here we go. This is an opportunity to talk to bring the perfect people on board and give them something that they've been missing. You know what I'm saying? Or give them a different outlook and perspective on being a perfectionist. So let's go into it, Coach Kim. Would you like me to read off the questions, or do you just want to go? Do you just want to flow into it, and then because I want to give you, I know after you speak, I already know. Like I got my pen and pad right here. I'm gonna be taking notes. I know I'm gonna have some more questions. You know what I mean?
I got mine too.
Okay. So, yeah. So I think it'd be good if you could dive right into it. Just go in and navigate us through it. And then I'll be writing down some other questions. And then if I need to, because my brain works differently, I might have to stop you in your tracks. Is that okay?
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's just dialogue that way. First thing I want to say is blessings to you and blessings to what God is doing in your life. Thank you for your outgoing nature and your ability to take the risk to step out there to do this. Like you said, we've never really dialogued before outside of some years ago, I think. And so I want to say blessings to you for that. I want to give you kudos to that. Blessings to your family, and continue doing what you're doing. A lot of times I'm on Facebook and it's just a shot in the arm, right? It's just boom, here it is. And we don't often, not only with yourself, but other people, we don't often get time to just dialogue with each other, sit down and dialogue with each other. And I completely and totally agree with you that, we have to be able to step out more and take the risk and say, hey, is this open? Is this something that we can do? We do it all the time in the business world. And I think that, we should do it more in the body of Christ. And I understand that there's parameters that we need to take, there's contracts and forms that need to be filled out. but I want to say thank you for reaching out. And I think that we should do that more often with each other. And if something is to be built off of that, we could do that down the line. But I think it's necessary for us in the body of Christ to begin to dialogue and share with each other like we're doing this morning. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate everything you said. Thank you as well, Coach Kim. It's marvelous to have you here. Last week I had Mona Martin, and I didn't even know.
Wow.
Like, there's things that I don't even know about people that's been around me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I've never heard her talk before. So when she got on and she flooded me with so much, I mean, she took my life to another level. You get what I'm saying? And like, and that's the experience I'm looking for. And I know, like I said, I celebrate you as a phenomenal woman. I celebrate you, you know, Women's History Month. You know, I see you doing your thing. I want to recognize you and acknowledge you for being so powerful and authentic out here to people, you know, and to yourself, most importantly. So, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All
you got to cut me off, too.
You're
Because
fine.
I talk. So you got to cut me off. Like,
you're fine.
For real.
I'm the same way. I am definitely I'm an edifier and encourager, and I'm a talker too. So let's just kind of vibe and take it where the Holy Spirit wants to take it. So this morning we're talking about perfectionism. And so for the audience, so I have my notes here too. So if you see me looking down, I am not like, you know, looking away or being absent-minded. I want to stay on focus what we're talking about, because I know we don't have all day. So perfectionism, really what the Lord spoke to me about that is I was just kind of talking to him last night. I'm like, a couple of things, you know, he said people get into perfectionism because they're living up to the wrong image, right? And so I'm going to use me a lot because we know the most about ourselves, right? And so perfectionism came about in my life, you know, from early on. However, we come from our first families, and for me, you know, Black family, growing up in poverty, you know, growing up in the Midwest, growing up with dysfunctioning family, all of these things that you don't really necessarily talk about or that you have the language for, right? And so who has the language for perfectionism or codependency or all of these negative behavior traits? At least I know that I didn't. And I didn't because on the level I was at, that's where I was striving to be the best, you know, and I was modeling things that I seen before. And so I just wanted to give a little bit of history and background on that. Like, how can you come into this? I really didn't know that I had this perfectionist behavior trait until I got much older, like late 20s, late 30s, you know, and really started to play out, you know, early 40s, you know what I'm saying? And so one key thing that I would say to you is if you are not getting the results that you want in your life, the first thing that I would suggest is take note of you. Take note of what image you're living up to, especially if you're on here and you're a born again believer of Jesus Christ and you understand what I'm talking about. If not, you know, we live up to the image and the likeness of God. We're made in the image and the likeness of our Creator. And so if negative seeds have been planted in us and we don't have the language, then the enemy can use that to sabotage us, sabotage our existence. Sabotage has to do with a political stance or a military stance. And the enemy knows that he can defeat us. He can defeat the victory that's already ours if, in fact, we don't know. I read something from Miles Monroe the other day, and it said this: the power of oppression is the maintenance of ignorance.
Man, that's deep. Yeah, that's real deep. Yeah.
Right?
Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, it makes sense too. It makes sense.
So you're going to stay pressed. You're going to stay pressed in oppression. If you maintain this level of ignorance. And unknowingly at a certain time, that's what I was doing. Until I came to the point, like, why am I like this? Like, why does everything have to be so on all the time? Why does everything have to be so perfect at the expense of my mental peace, my emotional peace? You know, how I navigate relationships, because when you get into perfectionism, the way you navigate relationships is going to be very different and very off. And I'm gonna dig into that a little bit. Perfectionism comes from internal pressure somewhere that you picked up along the way. in my experience, again, it was because my image was skewed. Negative seeds in my surroundings had made me feel so driven. Right. You can be driven and ambitious, and that's okay. But if you're driven and ambitious to a point where you're getting off into where you're harming yourself or you're harming others, you're harming your relationships, you need to pump your brakes as it relates to perfectionism, okay? Right. So this perfectionism is a manifestation of anxiety. Right. So when you're into the negative part of anxiety, right, you're going to when you're into the negative part of perfectionism, you're going to manifest anxiety, right? Because you're straining to have an ideal experience that really probably doesn't even exist. Right.
I don't mean to laugh. But
no, you're good. I'm laughing.
At the same time, you know, I think you got different levels of perfectionists. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, I'm laughing at the people you know, they want perfection and they want to, you know, they want everything to be perfected as they start, but they're not even up there yet to where they can say that I need to perfect this. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're at level one and you trying to be a perfect. It's like it ain't even really on you. You know what I'm saying? Like you just want to be it because you seen it or something like that. You know what I mean? So go ahead, Coach.
And there's a difference. I have found in my life that excellence, right? And Daniel had a spirit of excellence. Right. Excellence is going to drive you to do it the right way. It's going to drive you to want to get the knowledge, the understanding, like you talked about earlier, the timing, and you're going to have a peace with that, right? In order to move forward. But it's like you're saying, with ourselves or other certain individuals, perfectionism can make you so anxious that you just jump out there without even having everything that you need to do what you need to do. So it's a manifestation of anxiety where you're straining to be ideal or have an ideal experience. Mm-hmm. You want success, but you mainly focus on failure in your mind.
Wait, hold on. Stay right. Hold on real quick. Hold on real quick. Oh, man. You want success.
You want success.
But you mainly focus on
failure in your mind.
Man.
But you mainly focus on failure in your mind when you are at the wrong end of perfectionism.
Wow.
And so you wonder why I'm striving. I'm doing this the right way, but failure keeps coming up. You have to uproot the seed of the image that has been placed in you that does not line up with God. See, until I learned how to relax in God and rest in God, perfectionism beat me all the way up, right? It beat my relationships up because I needed to be in control. I had to be in control. People who are perfectionists have to just be in control of everything. Right?
But wait, no, don't go too fast. Slow down. Don't go too fast right there. I got to get you to slow down. So, wait, can you just elaborate a little bit? Don't go too deep. Just a little bit on how it beats you up, your relationship. You know what I mean? Like, just talk about it a little bit.
It beats you up because, and you know the underlying reason it beats you up because the only person in perfectionism that you're trusting is yourself.
Man, wait, hold on. Hold on. Yeah. So you only trust you.
You only trust you when you.
But you can't do everything.
But you can't do everything. But those seeds have been planted in you, so they're working against you. Those seeds have to be uprooted. You know, 9 times out of 10, for me, it came from living in a really critical background. Right, so if everything that you do, someone is criticizing, you want to feel what? You're going to feel like you're not good enough, right? Yeah, so then the reflection of that in my life is, oh, well, if I do this better, or I do more of this and more of that, and I do this better, then guess what? I will be loved. I will be accepted.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, validation.
That validation,
approval. Right. Okay.
So if you don't have that, then what are you going to do? You're going to try to be in control of everything. And you're going to have a hard time, trusting God.
Trusting, yeah. That's
You're
it.
gonna have a hard time trusting
Yeah.
God. You really have a hard time
There you
trusting
go.
your own judgment, but you can't say that because you're a perfectionist.
This is already this is already deep. This is already deep. Like, and this is why connecting with people that are more experienced, you know what I'm saying, is so important.
Yes.
Because like I said, I've already told people that they're gonna get an experience from you and a perspective from you that I'm not gonna be able to give them. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And people understand
Here.
my job is to make the connection.
That's right.
Like, I understand what my place is. Like, I'm not going to be the one that always has the answers. But I bet you can count on me for always going to find the person that has the answer to your problem. You get what I'm saying?
You know your lane, you know your role.
Right.
And, you know, for many years, I didn't know my lane and my role. And when you're perfectionism, you can get in lanes that are not even yours. Why? Because the enemy can, you know, kind of put a shield over your eyes and sabotage your efforts. He'll use you to sabotage your own efforts because you're not comfortable in your own skin. You're not comfortable in who you are. And when you're a perfectionist, you are absolutely not comfortable in your own skin.
Wow.
So you need to go back to the drawing board with God, right?
Right.
You need to go back and say,
get back to the basics.
Get back to the basics.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that we underplay that. We really do. We underplay getting back to the basics because we need God to be able to tell us who we are. You know, when I came out of 6 years of full-time ministry, I came out of 19 years of marriage that ended in divorce. I had to relearn who I was. And we have to, even if it's with our first family, and I don't care how old you are, I want to speak to some people who are my age. You in your late 40s, you 50, 60. I'm not there yet, but
somewhere in that area.
Right, in that area. However, it's never too late. Okay.
Yeah,
and
that's good encouragement.
I wanna free somebody to say, if you've been operating as a perfectionist, it's okay to say, I don't know.
Man.
I don't know.
That's good.
I don't know. I have a staff of, I have a team of 9 people, and I open the door for them. I have an open door policy where we are big on brainstorming, because what I may not have, you may have.
Come on, that's what it's about.
You know,
but that's delegating, right?
That's delegation. Yeah. And if you're a perfectionist, you really can't delegate, or you won't delegate.
Oh man,
you won't delegate, because again, it goes back to trust. You don't trust that those people. You don't trust that those people can do as good a job as you think you can do, but really you're blocking out the other gifting, the other talent, the other abilities that can make your experience, your existence, your team so much more full, you know, so much better, you know. And so perfectionists focus on failure. And here's another thing. The reason why they focus on failure and have an inability to trust is because they have not experienced or cannot give unconditional love.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. And so perfectionists don't believe in unconditional love. So instead of giving and receiving grace, they only depend on flawless performance.
Okay, hold on 1 second. All right, that's good.
And this is really near and dear to my heart, because I had never experienced love to the point where I felt like I could break out of perfectionism and just be me, just be comfortable in my own skin, right? And that's from really young on into my adult life. And so when you live like that for so long, what do you have to do? I was getting ready this morning, and the Lord said to me, a lot of people don't need to be demonized for this trait. They need to be delivered.
Come on.
So we have to stop demonizing things and make a place of grace where people feel safe enough and comfortable enough to be delivered. And deliverance is not always about you casting out demons and people foaming at the mouth. And it's not always
break it down. Break it down.
It can be that. However, I received so much deliverance by being intentional and getting in the Word of God and renewing my mind and getting rid of the ignorance that caused oppression in my life. You know, and so we have to have the component to be able to receive unconditional love from God,
right?
To give that unconditional love in our relationships. And really, what it does is it opens up this vein for grace. See, I wouldn't let God show me grace. Why? Because I didn't feel good enough, right? How can I trust God if I couldn't trust my natural father, or if I couldn't trust my natural people? You know, these are my people, my circle. If I can't trust them, how can I trust the God that I can't see?
That I can't see.
And so God had to break it down to me like this. Number one, I'm not like them. I need you to get to know me. And the more that I got to know God, the more that I was able to take that shade off of him and really experience his love. That I didn't have to earn anything.
Right.
You know, it wasn't about me deserving it.
Come on.
He did it because he loved me. And once that clicks in you, you're gonna be good. And it's gonna take some time, right? This is a journey, not a destination. Okay.
Right.
So we have to remember that this is a journey, not a destination. So think
and let me translate real quick. So I've got some good people. You're saying it's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's right.
Let me translate a
marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Right. Because some things I didn't learn till later on in life. You know, I was speaking with a young lady the other day, and you know, she was getting some things out and sharing some things, but at the end of the conversation, you know, I asked her, you know, I said, how are you feeling right now? You know what she shared with me after everything that she had shared for over an hour? She said, I just don't feel good enough.
Wow, that's deep.
So at our core, we need to check, do I feel good enough? Because if you don't, you're always going to be trying to do something where you're in this perfectionist mode.
Right.
You're not going to be able to relax in God and receive the grace of God. And what is the grace of God? We know it's the unmerited favor of God.
Unmerited favor,
I say it's the kindness of God. I say it's the enablement of God.
Right.
And anybody's going to need the enablement of God. I wrote this down. We don't believe God's grace is sufficient until we believe in our insufficiency.
Yeah.
So until I can say I'm insufficient in my own to live this life on my own, I'm not going to receive that grace, right? I can't receive it.
Yeah.
Why? Because my cup is already filled. God can't pour nothing in there if I'm so full of myself.
Right. So
once I started,
real quick, Coach, would you say a perfectionist seeks to please people?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's say people pleaser. Okay.
People pleaser. You want to be seen. Why? Because you're always looking for validation.
Yeah.
And you may not say it because perfectionists. Let me get down to this. Perfectionists can be harsh. They can be critical because they've experienced that.
Right.
They've experienced judgmental experiences. Perfectionists can come just simply from the pressures of life. Here's a big one that we deal with today: comparison. You know, I'm comparing myself to everybody else. So what I do look perfect. Not really perfect, but even if I can get on the gram and make it look perfect.
As long as I can look it, you know what I'm saying? Because we're seeking approval from people.
Exactly.
We haven't, got to that point where we're loving ourselves and we're not content in who we are. So as long as I can create a false image of who I want to be, you know what I'm saying? Who I would like to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I can get the likes, and I can get the hearts, and I can get the shares and the comments. Mm-hmm. And that's my approval right there. That feeds my soul with perfections, right?
It feeds that. It feeds that, if you will. Feeds that demon, if you will. That demon and not a physical demon. Don't get upset at me. I'm not saying you have a demon. But I'm just using that as a term.
Right.
But it feeds that behavior trait within you that says, I need to be seen. I need
Yeah.
to be heard. You know, I want to thrive. I want to be successful. And for me,
Yeah.
I'm naturally driven. So what the enemy did with that perfectionism is he took it to a whole nother level, right? Right. And it really affected my relationships. Why? Because I couldn't trust God. I felt like I couldn't trust anybody else. Then I needed to be in control, right? I needed to be in control of everything. And
if I don't do it, it ain't gonna be done right.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is a lie. That's a lie. Or, you know, mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. No, mama need rest too.
Yeah.
I am right now in my experience as a Black woman doing my best to raise my voice to say, that's a myth. This whole strong Black woman thing, that's a myth. You know what? I experience depression. There's times when I need to be strong, but I also want to be vulnerable. You know, we need that. And if we're on, when I say on, we're on 24/7.
Right.
How can we replenish? How can we be a blessing to our families, our communities, our ministries? We can't, because we're always on to some diluted experience that man has made up that I feel is really misogynistic, that ride or die. Well, where are we going? Where are we riding to? Do I get to ask that? Right. Do I get to ask that?
Right.
Do I just have to keep being strong at the expense of my own dysfunction and someone else's dysfunction?
Man, you in it right now. Like you're in the, you know what I'm saying? Like you're in the gut of it right now. Like,
Yeah.
You got us in the gut right now. You know what I'm saying?
So,
like,
yes.
For real. We're inside the thing right now. You know what I'm saying? We all the way in it right now. That's good. That's real good. Real. Now start bringing us up a little bit. Start bringing us up. Yeah.
So
get us up out of here.
The last two things perfectionism is going to have is a ruthless inner critic.
Right.
And then
wait, hold on. Wait, repeat that one more time.
They're going to have a ruthless inner critic.
Ruthless inner critic. Inner critic.
Right.
Man.
Not good enough. You know.
So you don't need nobody on the outside telling you that.
Don't need that. You don't need that, because remember that seed I talked about that's been planted that plays against the image of God.
Right.
That inner critic is going to be ruthless, telling you who you are. You think you can go for that job?
Right.
Who you are, you think you can date that man? Who you are, you think you can date that woman? Who you are, you think you can preach the gospel?
Right.
That little thing. And the enemy doesn't put it on blast. It's this drip.
No.
Drip.
Keep it private. Yeah.
Yeah. Builds up over time.
Because he's trying to kill you. He's trying to get you in that corner, get you to commit suicide, get you to give up on your dream, get you to give up on life in general, right?
Yes. So here's what helped me. I had to realize that perfectionists have unrealistically high expectations for themselves and others. And this can kill your relationships.
Right.
They're fault finders, critical of others. God spoke to me in a tent revival one year, and he said, stop being so critical. So it took the voice of God to break that seed in order for me to be able to break free, right?
Right.
You have false humility. You can't receive compliments or good very well. And you learn how to hide.
Yeah.
You will only look to certain people for validation. And if we're talking spiritually, you're going to be in a lot of legalism and you're going to be in a lot of pride. Now, the advantages of excellence is you have high standards. So we're coming out of it now. The advantages of wanting to see things perfectly is you're going to have high standards. You're going to want to reach high goals. You're going to have a desire to succeed. And guess what else? You're going to want to enjoy you're going to enjoy a challenge. And so when I found out those things could be true of me, I was able to breathe deep and relax. I was able to say, God, this is how you made me. This is how you created me. I can trust you to balance this out within me. See, it has to have a balance. That spirit of excellence, that perfectionism, as you will, it has to have a balance with the unconditional love of God, the grace of God. And what it took for me is I needed people around me. God would craft these experiences where people would just load God's goodness on me. And I would just be like, why are you do you have a motive? Why are you giving this to me? Because I couldn't receive, right?
Right,
So God
right.
had to teach me how to receive. So
You
coming up
became
out of
receptive.
it,
You became receptive, and then
became,
once you became receptive, it started flowing into your life.
boom.
So you changed your mindset, all right?
You have
Okay.
to change your mindset. And
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to jump into that. So we know the advantages: high standard, high goals, desire to succeed, you enjoy a challenge. And here's another thing that I didn't write down. As a person who used to be a perfectionist, I love to see progress. So naturally, so you may love to see progress, and that's okay, and that is good.
Right.
You like
Yeah.
to see momentum,
Yeah.
right? You don't like to be stagnant.
Yeah.
You don't like to be
You need
stuck,
that.
right?
You want to see the results.
Take
Yeah.
that on. You want to see the results.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to see results. So
Come on,
that's
yeah.
the advantages of that, right?
Uh-huh.
So we talked about the disadvantages. You're an all or nothing person. Like there's no, it has to be this way. You live in, you fear.
No.
Here's a big one. You're going to procrastinate. Why? Because
Right.
you have a fear of success.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
And here's a big one for me. It blocked my creativity for years.
What's that?
It will block your creativity.
Oh,
Perfectionism will block your
man,
creativity.
block your creativity.
Yes.
Man, that's a good one right there.
So
Your creativity.
coming to close this out.
That's what I be saying to people when I run up to people, because I'm the total opposite.
Yeah.
So when I see that you're a perfectionist, I'm like, dang, they don't know their full potential.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? I'm like, if I can get them to, I'm always trying to figure out how I can help the people. You get what I'm saying? Because I feel like every day like I said, I've been on professional and personal development 11 years, and I be trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like in every area of my life, like, okay, be here. I learn from the lesson, and then I apply what I learned. You know what I'm saying? And then I watch for the results, like you just talked about. Because the results let me know that I'm doing the correct thing. Okay, now I'm on the path. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, now I'm on the straight and narrow. I see the results, because you have to do something that you've never done to get something that you never had, right? Once I changed the mindset and I seen that, things was happening that I wanted to happen personally, I was like, that lets me know that, okay, I'm on a good path.
You're on a good path.
Yeah.
And you don't need to strive to get there, like you said. You just need to recognize change your mindset, change your mindset. You know, and again, I want to say to the audience that doesn't happen overnight. You have to keep renewing your mind, then speaking that out of your mouth. Those seeds are going to get in your heart till it becomes natural to you, right? And you settle in who God created you to be. And you stop caring so much about what other people think, and you just begin to flow in your purpose. You begin to flow in that place of being built up by God. You begin to flow, and you really stop caring about, well, what is this person thinking of me? What is that person thinking of me?
And that's what was holding you back, on that you cared too much about what people thought about you. And you didn't care enough about what you thought about you and what God thought about you.
Come on.
You didn't care
enough about that.
There was a void right there. You get what I'm saying? There was an empty slot right there. And once you feel that, you feel that empty slot right there, and it puts you on a whole different level. To where, look, my testimony is I'm the total opposite of what we're talking about. Like perfection, come on, I ain't got nothing perfect about me. I'm not and I'm okay. I'm not content with that. Like I don't make excuses for that, but I'm okay with that, because now I understand my gift. I understand what's not my gift, and I understand where I need to work at. You know what I'm saying? And when you study yourself, it helps you with the relationships that you have in your life. Because you're gonna run some good people right up out of your life if you don't understand your traits and their traits. You get what I'm saying? So you can't communicate with people in the way that you just want to, because you all about, you know what I'm saying, how you do things. You can't do it.
You can't do it.
It won't bring about effective communication. Now you will have some people that, and you'll never reach you won't see the full potential of the relationships that you have in your life if you don't change the way you think and change the way you communicate with people. The smartest thing I've ever done, I'm not a smart person, but the smartest thing I ever done was understand that I can't get people to operate the way I want them to operate. right? And stop expecting me out of other people. No, they're going to be who they are. My job is to figure out how to effectively and comprehensively communicate with them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so we can get a mutual agreement going on, so we can understand, so we can set some boundaries. You know what I mean? So we can set a solid foundation. So perfectionism has never been my thing. I don't rock with perfection. But my wife, she's up there. So I'm in this marriage, coach. I'm in this marriage, right?
Yes.
And my wife is a perfectionist, and I'm the total opposite, right? So what do? Do I keep fighting with her? Do we keep bumping heads? What is my job as a leader, as a man? You know what I'm saying? As a provider, what is my job to my wife? What is my duty to my wife? What is my duty to my family? It's not to argue with her every day. It's not to tell her how much of a perfectionist she is and how that's going to hold her back. It's not to do that. But and I do the things that people don't want to do. I love doing the hard stuff that people don't. And that's that professional development. That's that looking at yourself and facing your own demons, right? Figuring out, okay, I need to be strategic. I need to figure out how to effectively, because this is not working. I don't just up and leave my wife. I don't leave my family because we're two completely different people. No, I figure out a system that works between me and her. Okay, I'm going to have to do some things that's a little uncomfortable, and she got to do some things that's a little uncomfortable, right? So here we go. We're in a relationship. The two is one, but we're delegating. We're figuring out, okay, how can I get this to work for me? How can I get this to work for her? You get what I'm saying? And not just doing, you know, what I think is right and what I think works for the whole marriage. You know, it's about figuring out a system that works. Don't leave your home. Don't leave your spouse. You know what I'm saying? Don't break things. Don't tear down walls. Figure out what works.
Right.
Go ahead.
You just said it. And so we have to figure out what works. And a lot of times we either didn't have that model, or we refuse to change our minds because we're so rooted in our own way, right? And so regardless of what the relationship is, God didn't put us here to be islands to ourselves, right? And so regardless of what the relationship is, like the young lady I mentioned, you know, I was talking to her, I said, you know, we're created to not control each other, but to complement each other. So I need to find out where, okay, so here's this person. How can I compliment this person? I need to find out how I can compliment this person, right? Because there's always going to be that struggle if I don't take the time to be self-reflective and say, you know what, that particular thing really bothers me, and I want to be honest with you about it. Here's the thing: a lot of times we're not honest about what we really want, what we really like, and what we really don't like. And if we could begin to
but why are we not honest?
Fear, because somebody somewhere planted them seeds I keep talking about, that if I tell you what I really want, you're going to reject me the way they rejected me.
Man. So if I can keep faking it, everything will be cool.
Right. And because here's the thing, I can't, it's cool. I could trust Anthony. I could trust him. I know he got a track record. He's going to do the right thing. You know, speaking of, you know, relationships, whether it's husband, wife, you know, mother, daughter, son, whatever it is, but I can't trust you with me.
Right.
So you're going to get that drawback.
Man, that's good. I can't trust you with me.
So I'm going to keep lying and faking, because really deep in my inner parts, I feel like I can't trust you with me. So you have to begin to work through your relationships where people can let their guard down little enough. And this takes responsibility on both ends. Okay. I trust you with me a little bit, and you did the right thing, because we hashed that out, right? We talked that out. And I can trust you with me a little bit more. You know, it's like for me, for example, not being married for a certain amount of time, somebody coming into my life, I'm gonna have to say, okay, I've been doing this, and this by
This
myself.
way from
So,
yeah.
this brother, whoever God's seeing, got to be able to say, if you open up a little bit, let me show you that I can trust you. You can trust me with you. And that's not just in romantic relationships. That's in, I'm finding out, like in the position that I'm in right now, where people are threatened by me as a Black woman. It's like, ooh, I really can't trust you with me because in that meeting you threw me under the bus. So it's not just about romantic or marriage. We have to have this panoramic view where we're looking at all of our relationships, where
every aspect of life.
Every aspect. So we have to get to a point where we're saying, okay, God, I'm stepping out. And I heard this man say this the other day. He said, we're gonna be betrayed. We're gonna be let down. The key point of it all is, how are you gonna respond?
That's it. That's it right there. That sums it up. Right there. That's it.
Because now you're going to have to change the dynamics. And, I'm a big component. Anybody that follows my page knows I'm a big component of setting healthy boundaries, because I didn't have any. I didn't have any. God told me, one of the verses that delivered me was, trust in the Lord with all. I mean, not that one. That's a good one, but not that one.
Oh, okay. Because that's mine. You got to I almost start working because that's mine right there. That's Proverbs, that 3:5-6. That's me all the way. Yeah.
That's a good one too. Yeah. But I had to learn how to guard my heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issue of life. See, he didn't say let your heart be hardened, but he said guard it. So you need to be paying attention to what's going in and what's coming in, what you allow in, and what's coming out.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
And so when I learned how to do that, this is key. When I learned how to do that, I could set healthy emotional boundaries, and that made all my relationships better. Because if people are used to using you as a doormat, teach them how to treat you.
Man, I seen that. I think I seen it on your page recently. How you love and treat yourself is how you teach other people to love and treat you, or something like that. That's it. And I actually got a shirt that says that. I wore it on my video the other day. It says how you love yourself teaches other people how to love you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you said it. And all you have to do in any relationship, not just in any relationship. Set those boundaries. Don't be afraid to set those boundaries off top. Like, look, if this is a 2-person thing, off top, you gotta lay it out, because if you don't, and if you just expect people to read your mind, and to know how you are when they don't even know you.
They don't know you.
Like, how are you going to accomplish anything? No, I do that in every look. This is me. This is what I'm about. Right. I don't want to overstep no boundaries with you. Let me know what I can and cannot do. I start off any relationship, any friendship. You get what I'm saying? Like anything that I do, we start that off, because that's the perfect foundation. You know what I mean? Authenticity, transparency. That's the perfect foundation. So I know that whatever I embark on in life, it's not going to crumble, because I'm going to make sure that foundation is set. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not going, another thing we do is we put our expectations on other people. You know what I'm saying? We expect people to be, you know what I'm saying, the way we want them to be. And then we get let down, and then that gives us an excuse and a reason to not be in any other relationship, not be in any other friendship, not doing another business, not, you know what I'm saying, not to progress, personal development. Like, it creates excuses and reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it just brings back to you didn't really want to do this in the first place.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You wasn't comfortable with it in the first place. Let's just be honest here.
Let's just be honest. And so you're going to keep betraying yourself. You're going to keep doing something called self-betrayal. Because if I'm only presenting my fake self to you, then what am I going to get back in return? I'm going to get fake back. And so the Lord spoke to me, and he said, and we can get this from our first family. We can get this from wherever we get it from. But a lot of times we want the rights in relationships, but we don't want the responsibilities.
Wait, one more time. Slow down. one more time.
You see, we want the rights, in
You want
relationships.
the rights.
I want the right to be able to say and do what I want to do and how I want to do it and when I want to do it. And
not the responsibility. Yeah.
You don't want the responsibility of saying, but okay, but how does that affect other people? And it's okay for you to have rights. We all have rights within our relationships.
Yeah.
But we also have, I share this with my team all the time. Yes, you have rights, but you also have a responsibility to have this view where how is this going to affect so-and-so? You know, right now we're doing a lot of team building. And so really I had to unearth these silos. And so even when we're in relationships, we operate in silos as if we're there all alone. You're not in a relationship all by yourself. You have to be able to allow God to break you open so that you can understand, one, how to be in relationship with him. I recently been asking God, I don't want to take you for granted. Take me deeper and show me how to be in a relationship with you on what you want.
Right.
And as I do that in my life, my prayer is that the overflow of that is that I'm more open to how other people operate. And when I see how other people operate, then we can dialogue back and forth and say, okay, does this compliment you? Does this compliment you? And they can give me that same responsibility back and find out how and what compliments me. You have to have the element of compliment in these relationships. Otherwise, you're going to grind your gears and nothing fruitful is going to come out of that, right? Every relationship should be embarked upon by what? Not by how you look, how you feel, you know, what they got, but one thing, purpose.
Purpose,
What is the purpose of this relationship? And as you keep going back to the vision of the purpose of a thing, Miles Monroe says that if you don't know the purpose of the thing, you are going to abuse it.
Man, this is so deep. This is deep on so many levels, you know, because I watched it and my heart breaks when I see that. You know, when I see people going into things and don't know the purpose of it and don't have any intentions on knowing the purpose of it.
Right.
You just, there's some little slot in your life that you're trying to fill. And you about to connect with another individual. You about to connect with a whole other human, right? And you're not even gonna care about what you're about to do to this person's life. You about to connect with them because you got something inside of you, you know what I'm saying, that you want to feel.
Right.
But you're not thinking about the other person.
Right.
And you don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they're trying to get through.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know how they think.
Come on.
And that's how, and whole relationships, like a whole relationship. You got something that you might need to go through. A whole relationship, like for real. Like you got this one little piece that you probably could even go to therapy for, or you can get a coach or a mentor for to help you out in that area. Yeah. But you gonna go connect yourself with a whole person. You know what I'm saying?
Or what else? A whole job.
A whole job.
Church.
A whole organization. A whole institution. You know what I'm saying? Like you about a whole group of people. Like you about to connect yourself in here and try to get what you want because you selfish. You know what I'm saying? And you on a mission to get that little slot filled.
Right.
And you're not even thinking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The way you need to be thinking.
Right.
And I watch people do these things and destroy their life even more, destroy somebody else's life, destroy somebody else's vision, somebody else's purpose. So as visionaries, that's why we got to be careful about who we let in, right?
Who we connect to.
Who we connect to.
Right.
Because you know, one bad apple, that's all it takes.
Right.
So I have a system where anything I do, I bring people in.
Yeah.
It's automatically a personality, you know what I'm saying, survey for you to take. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to know how you function.
Right.
I need to know how you are under pressure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I need to know these things because
that's very good. Yeah.
Because there's vision here and there's purpose here.
Yeah, there's purpose.
And, you know what I'm saying? So and then I'm gonna give you that clear opportunity to make your mind up on what you want to do. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So those boundaries, those systems are so important, Coach Kim. Like very important for your life and for somebody else's life. Because I just don't want good for me. And I just don't want good for me. Because
Right.
I feel like ain't nothing gonna be good for me if everybody else ain't good.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm a people person.
Right.
I connect with people on an emotional level. So any interaction I have with somebody, it's gonna always be to help you level up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna always be able to help and serve you.
Right.
What can I do to add to you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But everybody different. A perfectionist is not
Everybody's not like that. And let me raise my hand and say, like
Yeah.
I said, it took me years to get to this place. And so now God has given me a voice to speak out about what, you know, perfectionism, what codependency looks like, because people don't know, they don't have the language that, you know, I'm operating this way and I'm ruining things around me and I don't even have the knowledge of what I'm doing. So it's very important for me, like you said earlier, to unearth what those behaviors look like so people can know, wow, they can have that epiphany, that light bulb come on, like, oh my gosh, that's been me. Good. And then you have to move into, you know, solutions. First, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I acknowledge this. I had to say, I acknowledge this. And you know what else I had to do too, brother? I had to repent.
Come on.
I had to repent because
that's
I
part of the
trusting.
system. You have to.
Break it. You have to.
Yeah.
So I had to repent not only to God, I had to offer myself compassion and forgiveness.
Yeah, come on.
So you have to, when you coming out of this, you have to offer yourself compassion. You have to offer yourself forgiveness. You have to offer yourself grace. And guess what? Any person, like for me, when I was in that, you know, because I was a soccer mom, like all my kids were involved in something, right? So, but those times where I wasn't present, because to come out of perfectionism, you have to learn the art of being present in that moment, right? And so I had to apologize to my kids and I had to repent to them and say, Mom is sorry for not being present in those moments where I should have been present, or I made the wrong decisions and it affected you in a way that shifted your life, where something took too much time, or I didn't give you the information that I'm sorry. I repent. And they've all forgiven me now to this point, but you have to go back and correct those things. Don't think you can just, I acknowledge it and I'm going on to this great life. What you need to fix, because some things can be mended, right? So go back and do that too. That's a big part of coming out of perfectionism. If you've controlled situations for so long and people haven't been happy around you, go fix that.
And that's why people don't like the transformation of a lot of things, right? Because you gotta go back. I knew that if I wanted to be fully transformed and fully renewed, you know what I'm saying, and embrace this new life that God has for me.
I felt God on that.
Like I knew I had to go back and say sorry.
Yeah.
I had to go back and explain myself a little bit and hope to gain my brother or my sister back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to turn. People don't know the story. My wife, I was lying. I'm not saying she was perfect, but before she was my wife, when I was getting out the game, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had created this false image and foundation. You know what I mean? I had created that, and it was like, you know, I wanted to just say, hey, just forget about everything. Let's just come with me.
Right.
Like,
right.
Like,
I'm not laughing at you, but I know that.
We're not gonna do that. You're gonna do the right thing. You're gonna do what's painful, and you're gonna do what hurts. Right. Because I'm tearing down that old foundation. Because I'm breaking down the old walls. I'm breaking through that old mindset. So you're gonna have to get all the way transparent. Be honest. So I told my wife, look, before she was my wife, I told her, look, I've done this. I lied to you about this. I wasn't living here. I wasn't going there. I was over here. You know what I'm saying? Like this.
Yes.
And I'm sorry for that. And I apologize. You know what I'm saying? Like I deeply, you know what I'm saying, apologize for what I've done to you. You know, and again, I'm not worried about if she was perfect or not. I'm not worried about that, because
it's about
at this moment it's about what I need, right? It's about me being free. It's about me get to that place where God can fully use me. So I'm telling her everything, and I gave her the option, like I want to go into the new life with you, and then gave her time.
Say that again. Like, you gave her the option. Option. Because you know that phrase we use, game recognize game, but real recognize real.
Real recognize real.
Real recognize real.
And then I was ready to accept
Yes.
whatever answer it was, whatever decision she made.
You have to at that point.
It's freedom.
You know, I told my daughter the other day, I said, sometimes you're not going to get closure. Sometimes their behavior was the closure.
No, you're not going to get that.
But when you're doing like what you're saying, and you are, see, the Bible says God tells us to be ye perfect as he is perfect. That's different from this perfectionism that we're talking about.
That's a whole separate. That's your perfection.
This word, be perfect as God is perfect, means mature. And that's what you're speaking of. The maturity that hurts, that sacrifices self to move into selflessness. And I can only assume that you're where you are today, and that you're building legacy today, and that you're building healthy family today because you opted in, like we have to opt in, right? You opted in to selflessness and got out of selfishness.
That's come on now. You just spoke to us like if you got nothing else from this live, if you got nothing else from this live, oh man, because that's the road to redemption. That's the road to true freedom right there. Coach, I'm gonna let you go the last 2 minutes. Just encourage the people, encourage us, close us out, and just give us some more wisdom.
This has been amazing. Thank you for having me. What I want to leave with you is this. When we become born again believers of God, and I'm just going to shoot from the hip, is you have to be able to allow God to love you back to life. You have to allow God's grace in your life, because if you won't receive his grace, you're not going to be able to give grace to others along their journey of growing into who they are becoming, because we're all becoming, right? We're all becoming more like Christ, and we're all becoming into who God created us to be. So receive that grace. And here's some things that I had to do in order to come out of perfectionism. Number one, I had to rebuild my identity in Christ. Okay. Go to Psalms 139. You are fearfully, you are wonderfully made. You have to know who you are in God and do not come down from that. Okay. Number two, you are going to have to reparent yourself in areas where you were not taught these things, where those bad seeds were planted in you, where you grew up maybe in a critical environment, a judgmental environment, like we talked about. We unearthed a lot, right? And so you're going to have to reparent yourself. What do I mean by that? You're going to have to give yourself the graces that you didn't get from your parents or your caretakers. You're going to have to give yourself the things that, go get yourself the ice cream cone, you know, give yourself grace. You know, join the track team. Whatever you couldn't do back then, do it for yourself now and reparent yourself. And do positive affirmations on yourself. So, I am loved. I am wanted. I am desired, right? And then you have to reframe your mindset and how you approach things. Like I had to begin to tell myself, you know what, Kim, you've given 110% today. You did your best. Now rest. Rest. Reframe. And when those negative seeds come up, and they will come up, use this. Use your mouth to fight against what the enemy is bringing to your mind. So reframe your thoughts as it relates to your work ethic. And if you're a procrastinator like I was, then you reframe by saying, you know what, I'm going to give this job 15 minutes, and then we're going to see where it goes. Then tomorrow I'm going to give it 20 minutes, and then we're going to see where it goes. And then you start rebuilding those healthy habits going against those bad seeds that go against the image of God. You have to learn, like Matthew 11:28 says, to rest in God. He said, come to me. When you find yourself in this perfectionism mode, go to God. Go in prayer. Learn of him. He's meek and lowly. He's not going to bash you over the head like the enemy. God says, come. The enemy will drive you into feeling like you have to do certain things, right? And so you have to learn how to rest in God. And that is what I will leave you with today. Hopefully I didn't go over my 10 minutes, but really take God's yoke on you and learn of him. And you think of a yoke, you think, wow, that's you know, confinement. But you need to be confined with the right person, and that's the Lord Jesus Christ. Because you have to learn the unforced rhythms of God's grace. And once you do that, all these layers are going to begin to come off. He's leading, he's guiding, and you're moving into these paths of purpose, unforced, not in perfectionism, unforced. And then that opens up these blessings to you that you've never experienced before. You're going to experience yourself in a way that you've never experienced yourself before. So just think about it like this. As you are re-experiencing yourself, your tribe is waiting on you. Your family is waiting on you. Your friends are waiting on you. I'm experiencing my friends in a way that I never had before. Why? Because I'm comfortable in my own skin. I don't have to do anything to be accepted. I'm already loved by God. I'm already wanted by God. So I can just show up as me. Boom, shakalaka.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's
so
it.
When you show up as you, that's a level of freedom, you know? And like attracts like. So you're gonna attract that freedom and other people that are free. So I hope I said something that's been of value today.
Yeah, that was, look, it was amazing having you on here, Coach. Our first connection. You know, and the greatest thing about this live right now is that I want people to understand this is organic. You know what I'm saying? And this is, there's no pre-meeting. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Like no pre-introduction. I reached out to Coach, told her what, you know what I'm saying, my vision and the platform that I needed to come on, and said a few more words after that, and then boom, we jump on live. It don't have to be perfect.
No.
It don't have to be perfect.
Preach, brother.
It don't have to be perfect. I'm trying to tell, look, because you don't know how much of a blessing you're going to be to somebody when you just do it. If it's in your heart, if it's on your mind, if God is pressing you to do it, you know what I'm saying? Man, you got to just do it sometimes. That's how you start. You perfected along the way.
Yes.
But you started. Because if you don't start, you will never be able to make it perfect. If you don't start, you'll never be able to make it perfect. You have to start. Start where you are. Start where you are. Coach, I'm going to let you get on with your day. Like I said, I really appreciate you. And we're going to see, because there's got to be another series. This is just a little bit.
Man,
but it was so much. It was so much in this little bit of time that you were able to give us. Like, it was so much wisdom, so much knowledge, so much information. So we'll figure out what the next step is.
Let's figure it out. But right now, what we telling the people, start and your excellence will evolve.
Start. There we go. That's it. All right. Thank you.